Welcome to the 11th of February, where I head off on a journey to Leicester to see a new friend called Will Braddock. This will start our journey along the Great Central Lines. We start off at South Wigston, just outside of Leicester, where he lives, and this will start our journey along the Midland main line. Here we are at Leicester Station, our first port of call on our journey to Loughborough.
That's just going to start.
If you look further down the station, you'll notice the site of Leicester LIP. Leicester LIP is known for holding various traction, such as Class 37s, Class 56s and Class 47s. On this day, we believed one of the Euro Phoenix 37s were being started up. Unfortunately, this did not occur. Heading into platform 3B is a Class 43 HST in East Midlands Trains livery. Unlike the HSTs which you saw on the East Anglia lines, these particular Class 43s still have the VP185 engines, aka Valenta Paxman or Paxman Valenta engine. The VP185 engine is a slight modification from the original Paxman Valenta engine that was introduced in the Intercity 125. The British Rail Class 43 HST is the TOPS classification used for the Intercity 125 high-speed train, formerly Classes 253 and 254 power cars, built by British Rail Engineering Limited from 1975 to 1982. The class is officially the fastest diesel locomotive in the world, with an absolute maximum speed of 148 miles per hour and a regular service speed of 125 miles per hour. Over the other side of the platform we notice the site of a Meridian Voyager, Class 222. The 222s are a diesel multiple unit high-speed train capable of 125 miles per hour like the HSTs. 27 sets were built by Bombardier Transportation in Bruges, Belgium. About 20 minutes to half an hour later, a Class 222 then passes a Class 43 HST and the other platform. The 43 then departs with the train. After this, out of the Bay platform, an East Midlands Trains Class 156 departs with a train bound for Lincoln. A while later, in the outer sidings of Leicester, a Class 66 Freightliner container train heads past the station. The Class 66 is a type of 6-axle diesel-electric freight locomotive developed in part from the Class 59 for use on the railways of the UK. Since its introduction, the class has been successful and has sold to British and other European railway companies. In continental Europe, it is marketed as the EMD Class 66. In the early 1970s, the British Rail Board made the decision to replace its mainline express diesel traction. Financial limitations were tight, so mass electrification was not possible. As a result, a new generation of high-speed diesel trains had to be developed. Experience with the high-speed Class 55 Deltic locomotives had shown that a low axle weight was essential to avoid damage to the track at sustained high speed, and that high-speed engines were the only way to provide a good enough power-to-weight ratio for diesels. To power the HST at up to 125 miles per hour, each power car had a new diesel engine. The 12-cylinder Paxman Valenta running at 1,500 RPM and developing 2,250 bhp. The 70-ton weight of the power car gave it a 17.5 ton per axle loading. Now we're going to catch the Class 156 Lincoln-bound train to Loughborough from platform 4.
Thank you. You usually get to see a back angle on it. There's 906. See it?
Yeah.
47. Rail Ops 47 was there at the back.
Now at Loughborough Station we noticed the site of the Brush Traction Factory, founded in 1957. One of Brush Traction's most successful designs is that of the Brush Type 2 Class 31. The Class 31. Originally supposed to be classified as Class 30, they were built by Brush Traction from 1957 to 1962. They were numbered in two series, D5500 to D5699 and D5800 to D5862. Construction of the first locomotive was completed in the final week of September 1957, and the handing over took place on the 31st of October. The Class 31 entered service in November 1957 after the launch of the Class 20 locomotive, and was one of the pilot scheme locomotives ordered by British Railways to replace steam traction. They were originally built with Marelli's engines, but however, the engines were not successful, and in 1964, D5677 was fitted with an English Electric 12 SVT engine as used in the Class 37. The trial proved successful, and the entire class was re-engined, which classified them into the Class 31. Around 26 locomotives have been purchased and preserved for use on the heritage railways around the UK. Of note are the first built number 31018 and the last built number 31327. There were a further 10 which have subsequently been scrapped. Some members of the class are even being used on the mainline today. Class 31 numbers 31128 and 31461 are now owned by Nemesis Rail based at Burton-on-Trent. 31128 is an ex-Fragonset locomotive. Network Rail operated a fleet of 3 Class 31-1 locomotives, numbers 31105, 233 and 285, and 1 Class 31-4 locomotive, 31465, to haul test trains around the network. Time to head back to the present day 11th of February 2018. We're going to head to the Great Central Railway. At least we thought we was.
How far is the Great Central Railway from the town centre, Mr. Braddock?
Not that far.
No. But somehow I don't believe it. Oh, there's a sign.
Yes, when we got there the Great Central Railway was closed. And we missed the charter service which was running earlier on in the day. However, after this we decided to head back to Loughborough station, where we'll catch a train back to Leicester and then Leicester back to Wigston, and then we'll come back tomorrow to check out the Great Central. However, there was some complications on the way back home.
We've now arrived into Leicester City. Will, would you like to give us an update of the situation?
We've missed a train and now we've got 2 hours. That is the situation. It's bloody freezing.
So yeah, basically we got to Leicester City to come back home to go into Great, and we get to Leicester and we just found out we just literally missed the train, and the train's every 2 hours, so basically we're stranded here for 2 hours. So,
Catch a bus.
so firstly, we miss the 37 gets cancelled out of Leicester LIP, so we couldn't see that. We get to Loughborough, the Great Central's closed, and now we're stranded in Leicester City until we can get back to Wigston. Great. It's great, it's brilliant.
So the 12th was a bit of a disaster. 37's not starting up, us then going to the Great Central Railway, finding it's closed, and then getting stranded in Leicester. We got back, eventually, by the bus from the station itself, which leads us on to the 13th of February 2018. Will's mum gave us a lift to Leicester North Station on the Great Central Railway. Here we are, seeing a Class 8F arrive into the station and run round its train for its journey back to Loughborough. We're going to catch this service down to Loughborough for a very classic steam journey in a cold, wintry, wet weather. The London, Midland and Scottish Railways 8F Class 280 heavy freight locomotive is a class of steam locomotive designed for hauling heavy freight. 852 were built between 1935 and 1946, not all to the LMS order, as a freight version of William Stanier's successful Black 5, and the class saw extensive service overseas during and after the Second World War. LMS freight traction suffered from the adaptation of the Midland Railway's small engine policy, which had left it with trains double-headed by underpowered 060s, supplementing by inadequate Garretts and Fowler 7F 080s. The 8F design incorporated the two-cylinder arrangement of the Black 5s. They were initially classified 7F, but this was later changed to a more familiar 8F. On the outbreak of the Second World War, the design was chosen to become the country's standard freight design, reprising the role of the GCR Class 8K they had in the First World War. The War Department had 208 8Fs built by Briar Peacock and the North British Locomotive Company. The Great Central Railway is the UK's only double-track mainline heritage railway. It's the only place in the world where full-size steam engines can be seen passing each other, just as it was when steam ruled the rails. Loughborough Central Station is the main headquarters for the railway and is where all the locomotives and stock are stored. The station was opened by the Great Central Railway on the 15th of March 1899, built to the standard GCR arrangement of having an island platform set between the two main running lines. The platforms are 400 feet long, capable of accommodating consists of up to 8 coaches and or mail vans. The station buildings are unique on the preserved railway, the only station with a complete canopy, the longest in railway preservation. The station was closed by British Rail under the Beeching Acts on the 5th of May 1969. Towards the main shed at Loughborough, we see 92214 9F locomotive Leicester City and one of the railway's resident Class 08 shunter locomotives starting up, ready for some shunting, to shunt the diesel locomotives about, ready for the diesel diagrams which will be happening the following week. But this particular day at the Great Central Railway, it was the Paw Patrol event, and we see characters from the Paw Patrol franchise walking around the platform. Heading into Platform 2 is a Class 101 Metcam DMU. We're going to catch this service down to Rothley and then back to Loughborough once again. The British Rail classes 101 and 102 diesel multiple units were built by Metro Camel, hence the nickname Metcam, at Washwood Heath in Birmingham, England from 1956 to 1959. Following construction of a series of prototype units, these classes proved to be some of the most successful and longest lived of BR's first generation DMUs. Second in longevity only to the Class 121, with the final 5 units being withdrawn on the 24th of December 2003. Class 101 DMUs were used across much of the British Rail network, with the notable exceptions of the southern region and the western region, apart from some inter-regional workings, notably concentration of services included east of Scotland, West Midlands, Teesside, Tyneside and West Yorkshire. Now back on the approach to Loughborough, we see an IVAD Class 2MT passing our DMU as we await the right-of-way into the station. station, we notice some of that shunting in action, as we see D8098 Class 20 shunting newly painted Class 47 1705 up towards Loughborough Sheds. Classes 37, 31 and 33 and 45 are in Platform 1. The Class 08 then shunts them back into their yard and designated area for them to be stabled. We now take a trip up to Quorn by road, and on our route we see Class 101 with a Rothley bound train en route towards Quorn. Now at Quorn we see the Class 101 again on its return trip with a Loughborough bound train. These scenes start to get very atmospheric with the torrential rain and a Class 8F heading into Quorn Station. .48624 now departs with a train bound for Leicester North. As scene 46521 arrives with a train bound for Loughborough. We're going to catch this service from Loughborough and head up on the Ivot down to Leicester North.
Hey, do you want these to get off your floor? John, do you want to take these to the park? No, I'm right there.
That's good. That's the right way though.
Thanks to fellow GCR volunteer and friend Nathaniel Parker, we managed to get a cab ride in IVAT 2MT 46521. The locomotive sets off from the stock and we run around a train to connect to the other end for its next journey out to Loughborough.
Okay.
The London, Midland and Scottish Railway IVAT Class 2 260 is a class of steam locomotive designed for light mixed traffic. A total of 128 were built between 1946 and 1953, mostly at Crewe. 20 were built by the LMS and given the numbers 6,400 to 19. On nationalisation in 1948, 40,000 was added to their numbers to become 46,400 to 19. The remaining 108 locomotives of the class, numbered 46420 and 46527, were built by British Railways. As 46521 departs with its train bound for Loughborough, this concludes our first part of Along Great Central Lines. We do hope you've enjoyed this episode of Railriders and it's persuaded you and inspired you to watch more episodes in this series. Goodbye for now.